Hello and welcome to Time Classes. Today we have a topic of data interpretation. There are a wide variety of data representations through graphs and pie charts and tables. Today's focus is tables. Tables are the simplest way of looking at arranging a particular type of data. So you have clear-cut columns and rows, and looking at the typical column versus row, you can get a particular data for which year, for which particular person or country or parameter, and the number given out there will then have to be dealt with. Essentially, for tables at the beginner level, we'll go through a gradation of exercises today. We will mostly be involved with percentages and ratios, finding the largest share or the lowest share, finding the amount of growth, finding which particular group has the largest total, what is the difference between two of the entries, so on and so forth. So for the bulk of the part, it is likely to resemble a class using a lot of calculation practice, and therefore we will frequently refer to some of the faster ways of calculation today, which will help us solve in case we do get a calculation intensive table question in the actual examination. Let's get started. So we have a table on a screen which you can see, where there is an year from 1985, 1990, 1995, 2000, 2005, 2010. And there is a horizontal vertical column down which talks about A, B, C, D, E, which are a party. So this table shows the number of elected members in the various parties to a state assembly. So every 5 years elections happen and this data is given. How many people from that particular party won the election in that year? The data is straightforward. We do not have any missing element. We do not have any percentage calculation per se. All the numbers are positive integer values. Let's look at the first question. How many more seats did the party D get over the party B in all the elections put together? That means I want to put together all the elections and I want to look at the total that the party D has and the total that the party B has. And we want to find out how many more did D get over the party B. So we'll have to total up the values for B and D. Let's look at how do we do this. Now we are adding 160, 145, 140, 155, 155, 156. So these are the values for D. Now we don't need to transfer this data onto a rough page because these numbers are given horizontally, and across our school days we are typically habitual with writing the numbers vertically, one below the other, adding the units digit at a go, taking the carryover to the tens digit, so on and so forth. We'll try to be faster with this. So we see a 60 in one of the numbers here. At least we should attempt a double digit addition. We also see a 40 in another number there, and 60 and 40 will make 100. So what we will train ourselves on is to look at the last two digits of the numbers, and wherever they can come together to give you a decade like a 30 or a 70 or an 80 or 100, then that is easier for your brain to do and to remember. So I'll slash off 60 and 40 and I think in my mind that it is 100 already. Then I have a 55 and a 45, and this particular total is also 100. So now it is 200 because there was a 60 and 40 and there was a 45 and 55. I have 200. Then I have a 55 and a 56. 55 and 55 would make 110 because 50 double is 100, and it is not 50 but it is 55. 55 double is 110, but it is not 55 and 55, it is 55 and 56. So it is 111. We already had 200 earlier. Now we have 111. That makes it 311. So in our mind, maybe right now, because of the first time exposure to this, we will just make a small note on a rough paper that this much double digit addition for D is 311. What are the other ones? 100, 100, 100, 100, 100 and 100. So all these 6 would make 600. We will also notice when we do the same job of totaling with B that the hundreds are there in the same quantity. So you have 6 hundreds available for B also. So this question is asking you to find the gap between the total seats of D across all the elections, total seats of B across all the elections. So when the difference will be done, the 600 for D and the 600 for B would cancel. So it is immaterial for you to compare. So we can just look at the last two digits. We can just look at last two digits. Let's see what all numbers do we have. We have a number 15 to be combined with a 25, that makes a 40. Fair enough. So I have a number 15 and I have a number 25, that makes a 40. Fine. What about 22 and 13? That makes a number 35. And 35 with 25 will make a number 60. So these three numbers put together now, 22 and 13, that make a number 35. 35 and 25, that make a number 60. Then we have a number which is alone 19 and 60 plus 19. So in totality, this group is 60 plus 40 plus 19, which is 119. And the other group of two digits for the party D was 311. So 119 and 311. What is the gap? If 119 would have increased to 319, the gap would have been 200, as you can see on the screen. So the gap would have been 200 if the growth would have been to 319. But instead of 319, we are growing only to 311, which is 8 less. So 200 would then go 8 less. And therefore the answer is 192. This is a way we want to train ourselves to look at double digit clusters so that we are able to get to a complement or a supplement addition to 100 or a 70 or a 50 or a 60. The digits with the 0 in the end are easier for your mind to understand and also to remember. Whatever is not useful in a comparison between entries, we will eliminate that, like we let go of the 600 which was appearing in the 600s of the 6 election years for each of the political parties B and D. Therefore we focus only on the last two digits. When we got to the stage of subtraction, where we got 311, where we got 119, we did not spend time in writing them one above the other and looking at a carry over and then subtraction. We straight away said 119 to 319 would have meant 200, a growth of 200. But 119 to 311 means you are not going to 319, but you are going 8 less. So the growth also would be 8 less. And that is how we arrived at a number 192. Let's look at the next question. We continue with the same table. We have the same data in front of us. It is again about the 6 elections for these 5 political parties. Now the question is, which of the two parties could join to form a government? And in the bracket they tell you how the government will be made by totaling more than 50% seats. So for all the seats in that election, if you come together and you can have more than 50% seats, you can make a government. And this is to be checked in which year? 2010. So in the year 2010, let's look at that last column, 2010. Which of the two parties can come together to achieve more than 50% seats? If B and D are opposed, so this political party B and this political party D, they will not join hands. So anybody else, any other pair is possible, provided you can achieve more than 50%. To get to this calculation of more than 50% seats, we will have to add up this grand total of the year 2010 on how many election seats were there. So again, we use the logic of trying to add at least 2 digits at a go and trying to get to a level where we'll be able to get a complement of 100. So we have a 45 and we have a 25. This gives me 70. We have a 92. We have a 92 with a 6 and another 2 at the end. So this 2 and this 6 and this 6 will make a 10. And 90 with a 10 will make it 100. 100 with a 50 will make it 150. 150 with a 30 will make it 180. And now we'll have to add up the hundreds. That is a single 100 here and another 100 there. So therefore, two more hundreds join. So 380 plus 750 plus 700 is going to be 450. So total number of seats in the election in 2010 is 450. To achieve 50% of the seats, you need to do at least half of them. So 225. So if you achieve more than 225, you will be in a position to make the government. Now, which of these options, option A, option C, option B, option D, which of these groupings add up to more than 225? As simple as this. A and B, 125 and 45, the number itself is way smaller. It will not add up to 225. Let's look at B and C, 125 and 92. 120 and 90, I am now leaving the tens digits separately. I am now looking at 120 and 90 because now we are focusing on the groups of B and C in our option 2. So 120 and 90 makes 210, and 210 plus 5 plus 7 is 217, and 217 is not more than 225. So this also goes away. What about C and D? Now we'll look at combination of C and D, which is this group C and D. 156 and 92, 150 plus 90 itself is 240, and 240 is more than 225. Therefore, if we combine C and D, we are able to achieve the rule of getting more than 50% seats, and that is enough to form a government. So the answer here will be C and D. Because it's a multiple choice question, only one answer is correct. Therefore, we do not have to spend extra time on trying to check D and E. But for the sake of the class, we'll try and see how D and E would be wrong. Let's combine D and E. So now we are looking at addition of 150 something with 30 something. And 150 and 30 would lead to 180 only. 180 doesn't come close to 225, leave alone crossing it. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Let's go to the next question. What percentage of seats did parties B and E together get in 1995? Now we want to look at 1995. What percentage of seats did parties B and E get? So what did B get? 125. What did E get? 46. So what is the total of these two as a percentage of the total number of seats in that year's election? So when we are looking at total number of seats in that year's election, we can once again look at the double digit addition and getting to a pairing which gets us close to a number ending in 0 or a number ending with 00, like 100 or a 200. So let's look at 95 and 25. So in this particular case, a 95 and 25 would give you 120. Let's look at 44 and 46. So now when we look at a 44 and a 46, that itself gives you a total of 90. Then the only number left was this number 40, which is 40. So 120 plus 40, 160, 160 plus 90 is 250. So 250 along with the hundreds. How many hundreds do we have? 100, one more 100. So 250 plus 200 is going to be 450. So the total seats in the year 1995 for that particular election was 450. How much did B and E together get? B and E together get, which is 125 and 46. 120 plus 40 is 160. 166 plus 5 is 171. So 171 seats they got out of 450. Now the question finally becomes, what is this percentage? Because the question says, what percentage was B plus E together? Now, with some calculation smartness, we can try and get to a number. We can easily see the three options are 30 something percentage and one option is 20 something percentage. Let's look at what will be 30% of 450. If 171 comes to in the range of 30s, then one of those three is an answer. If 171 comes to only 20s, then only one answer, option C, would end up being correct. So it is in our interest to quickly do this small calculation check so that we do not spend further time. In the examination, as long as you are able to scientifically get to the right answer, without spending enormous calculation time to eliminate and check every option, you will save precious seconds. And that will be important to deploy in the calculation or the steps needed in a future question. So let's look at 20%. If 450 is your 100%, which is the denominator, then the 10% of this will be 45. And therefore 20% will be 90. And 30% would be 45 threes are 40, threes are 120, 5 threes are 15, which is 135. Now this number 171 is decidedly more than 135, 30%. Therefore, the answer is going to be in the 30s. Therefore, option C cannot be your answer. Now we will have to check whether it is 38% or 36% or 32%. What happens when the 10% goes 4 times and therefore 40%? So 10% going 4 times makes it 40 fours are 160, 5 fours are 20, 160 plus 20 is 180. So if the numerator was 180, then that percentage would have been called 40%. But it is 9 less. To go to 171, you are 9 less. 9 will be what percentage of 450? So if 45 is 10%, 4.5 is 1%. Therefore 9 is 2%. So from 40% I have to reduce minus 9, that is equivalent to subtracting 2%. 40% minus 2% will therefore will give me 38. So the answer is option A, 38. Instead of going to 40%, we could have also gone in the forward direction. We already calculated 30%. Then we would have added another 5 or 1 by 1. We would have reached 38%. But our job is to find out if the number is already looking large enough beyond 30%, why not go to 40 and come back one step instead of calculating 30 and then go in multiples of 1 or 5. That will increase the calculation by 1 or 2 more steps. Therefore, in this method, because we looked at the number 171, which was close to the 40% number 180, we deliberately went to 40% and reduced it to the need so that we can reach 171. And therefore, the answer is 38%. Let's look at the next question. It is again based on the same table of the political parties. Now the question is, by what percentage is the number of seats secured by D more than the number of seats secured by B in 95? So within 95, number of seats secured by D, 140, is more than the number of seats secured by B, which is 125. So 145 is how much percentage more than 125? So typical percentage growth or percentage reduction logic, the value that we are referencing is 125 because the growth is over the value of B. So the reference is the value of B. And which is the value which we are measuring for growth, which is the value of D, which is 140. So 140 over 125. So 140 minus 125, the gap is 15 seats. So D is more than B by 15 and B gets 125. So the growth that D has over B is what percentage of this number? This is nothing else but this multiplied by 100. Now, in general, to multiply with 100 and then subtract with numbers might be tricky, but in this case it becomes easier because 100 is a multiple of 25. 25 fours are 100. And 125 is also a multiple of 25. 25 fives are. And the above number 15 is divisible by this 5, that is 3. And 3 fours are would therefore give you 12%. Therefore, the correct answer here is 10%. The same question of growth. What percentage is D more than B can also be achieved without going through the normal method of multiplying by 100. So we know that the growth is 15, and we know it is being compared with a base of 125. 15 and 125. So they are divisible by 5. So 5 threes are 15, and this will become 5 25s are 125. So 3 over 25. Now 25, if that is 100%, then 10% of that number will be 2.5, and 3 is more than 2.5. Therefore 3 by 25 is definitely 10% and something more. So 2.5 part of 3 is 10%. How much more do we need to go? We need to go more by 0.5. So if 2.5 is 10%, then 0.25 is going to be 1%. And what is double of 0.25? Double of 0.25 is 0.5, and that will be 2%, double of 1%. How much is the gap between 2.5 and 3 that you want to go to? 0.5. So how much more above 10% do you need to go to? 2%. Therefore, the answer once again is 12%. Go to the next question. It is again about the same election setup and the political parties. Now the question is, what is the ratio of the number of seats secured by Party C in 85? So Party C in 1985, that secured by Party B in 2000. Now Party B in 2000. So the question is, what is the ratio? So Party C in 1985 upon Party B in the year 2000. The ratio of the seats, that is as simple as the question can get. So you have 85, which has to be divided by 119, and because it's a ratio, we will finally leave it at the simplest format. As we can easily see, this is a multiple of 17. So 17 5s are 85 and 17 7s are 119, and therefore the correct answer is 5:7. In some cases you might not directly get such multiples, so you might need to remove some factors like a factor of 2 or a factor of 3, and then you will go to a reduced status, which will be your answer. But it is imperative that you should know tables. Tables till 20 are an absolute must, so that you can look at the number and instantly recall that this is a multiple and common factors can be cancelled. Now we look at the next set of questions in a table, where once again we have people and A, B, C, D, E, F and some numbers given. And this is about marks obtained by 5 students, which are Ram, Sita, Geeta, Balu and Soni, in 6 different subjects, which are A, B, C, D, E, F. And maximum marks in each subject is 100. So out of 100, these are the marks these people are getting. All right. So these are all integral marks. There is no decimal value here. There are 5 people and there are 6 subjects for each one of them. Now the individual questions. What is the difference between total marks by Ram in all subjects together and that obtained by Balu? So that would mean what? The same thing that you were doing for the previous person. That means total marks in all subjects together. So total marks in all subjects together by Ram. So I'll have to add up horizontally all the subjects together. A, B, C, D, E, F. What is the marks that Ram has scored? Same thing I will do for Balu. So A, B, C, D, E, F. What are the marks Balu has scored? So we'll add up these numbers. Now these are already 2-digit numbers. So these are 2-digit numbers. So once again we'll play the comfort of looking at whether we can spot the tens and the hundreds together. So we have a 2 and 8, which will give you a 10. We have a 4 plus 4, 8 plus 2, 10, which will give you another 10, and a 6. So 10 plus 10 plus 6 would give me a 16. I have a 60 with a 70, which is 130. 130 with a 70, which is 200. 200 plus 60 is 260. 260 plus 80 is 340. And 340 plus 90 is 430. When I add up 430 with 16, I will get 446. This becomes my total for Balu. Now when I was adding 60 and 70 and I am saying 130, what I'm doing is I am adding 6 and 7, 13, and I'm putting a 0 behind it. Because this is a 60, that means it is 6 with a 0 behind it. This is a 70, that means it is a 7 with a 0 behind it. So 6 and 7 with a 0 behind it, that means 13 with a 0 behind it. When I added up this 7, 13 and 7 will make it 20 with a 0 behind it, that is 200. So when you see me adding like this, basically what we are doing is single digit addition and continuing with those zeros behind them. What about Balu? For Balu, we look at the groupings in this manner. We have a 3 and a 1 and we have 4. Therefore, 4 plus 6 will give me a 10. 8 and 8 will give me a 6 and 6 and 4 will give me a 10. So 8 and 8 16, 16 plus 4 20, and this 3 plus 1 4 and 4 plus 6 10. 20 plus 10 gives me 30. Now I add up the decades tens. 40 and 50 90, 90 and 50 140, 140 and 50 190, 190 and 40 230, 230 and 30 260. So I have these two numbers to be added. So total for this gentleman is 290. So the total marks scored by Ramu is 446. Total marks scored by Balu is 290. Now the question is difference between the total marks. What is the gap between these two numbers? So 290 plus 10, 300. 300 plus 100 makes it 400. 400 plus 46 makes it 446. Therefore, the correct answer is 156. So we do not go with the subtraction process of 6 minus 0, 6. 4 minus 9 I cannot do, so I take a carryover, so it becomes 14 minus 9, that gives me 5. Because of a carryover of 4, it remains as 3, and 3 minus 2 gives me 1. We will not do this job. We will always try to use the speed that our brain has in trying to move forward, in trying to reach the next positive number. This is always easier in any mental calculation as compared to going backwards, looking at subtraction and remainders. Therefore, what did we do? We said that we will not do digit by digit subtraction. So we will say, how much does 290 need to increase to get to 446? That is the difference between them. So 290 need to increase by 10 to reach 300. 300 further needs to increase by 100 to reach 400. 400 further needs to increase by 46 to reach 446. Therefore, very quickly adding these three instead of any subtraction, it is 156. Go to the next question. It continues on the basis of the same table. You have the same students and the same data structure of the marks that they have got in the various examinations. What percentage did Sita get in all the subjects put together? All subjects put together. So I'll have to add up the marks of Sita in all subjects. And each subject has 100. And how many subjects do we have? We have 600. So out of a total of 600, how many total marks did Sita get? How many total marks did Sita get? And the question is, what is this percentage? So this total upon 600 will multiply with 100. Now in addition, for the total marks of Sita, we'll once again go with the digits combination, which will help us ease our job. This 6 and this 4 give me a 10. This 8 and this 2 give me a 10. 10 and 10 is 20. And 20 with this single 2 gives me a 22. 80 and 90, 170. 170 and 70, 240. 240 and 80, 320. 320 and 90, 410. 410 plus 90, 500. So 500 plus 22. Total marks of Sita are 522. Now total marks of Sita are 522 out of 600. So what is the percentage? For any fraction to convert to a percentage, you multiply by 100. And the moment you multiply by 100, mentally you know the double zero will cancel. So wherever the denominator is made up of 600, 700, 800, you can just ignore the double zero, because eventually that is what is going to happen. You will divide by 6. So you will have a division of 522 by 6, and that particular calculation would then give you the answer. So we say 6 8s are 48 and 42, and that is 6 7s are 42. So the correct answer is 87%. In this division, eventually you will get the number 87%. Same data about the students and scoring marks across the 6 subjects. Average number of marks scored in the subject D by all the 5 students. So in the subject D, what the 5 students have scored, what is the average? Average of any number of entities is nothing else but sum of the values of the entities divided by the number of entities. So technically, average of n items, or let's say values, it can be ages, it can be salaries, it can be score, average of n values is equal to sum of those n values divided by the count, which is equal to n, because there were n things being added. So in this case, there are 5 students added, so we will divide by 5. And we want to find the average in a particular subject? Yes, only in D. So we'll add up the 5 values that these people have scored in D. So we'll add up these values put together. Now, once again, for the ease of calculation at the initial stage, we would look at a 6 and 4 giving you 10, and 3 and 2 giving you 5, and 5 and 5 giving you 10. So 10 plus 10 will give you 20. So you would have a 20 available. Then you have a 60 and an 80, 140, 140 and a 60, 200, 250 and 280 plus 20, 300. So therefore, in totality, 280 plus 20 gives you 300. And this is a very simple calculation for an average. The average score for all the people put together would be 60, which is your answer to this question. Now we look at the next question in this table. Again, same 5 students and 6 subjects that they are studying. How many of the given students got more than 60 in all the subjects put together? So when I look at a student and I look at all the subjects put together, then did he get more than 60%? Same thing I will have to do with every student. So I'll look at all the subjects for the given student, that is a horizontal addition. And then I'll have to compare with the yardstick of the question, which is, are they scoring more than 60%? And the question is, how many students got? There are 5 students. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of these 5 students, how many of them have got more than 60? Fair enough. Now every paper had a maximum score of 100. So all the 6 subjects, A, B, C, D, E, F, somebody is attempting total of 600 marks. What is 60% of 600? That will be 360. How do we do this? 600 is 100%. Therefore, 60 is 10%. If I want to go to 60%, therefore I'll multiply 10% by 6. And therefore 66 are 360. So I will obtain a value of 360. So instead of adding them up and then calculating a percentage by doing upon 600 for each one of the 5 students individually, I will just total and try and find out, is the total more than 360? That means the student has scored more than 60%. And if the total is less than 360 or equal to 360, then the student is not scoring more than 60%. He's scoring 60 or 59% or 50% or 40% or lower than 60. So the totaling target for us in this question becomes 360. Let's look at whether we achieve 360. We'll not spend a lot of time on the units digit right now because units digit give a smaller contribution in the total that we want to target. 360 you will achieve not because of a 2 and a 5 and a 7, but instead more because of the 60 plus 70 plus 80 plus 90. So we'll focus first on the tens digit. A 60 plus 70, 130, 130 plus 70, 200, 200 plus 60, 260, 260 plus 80, 340, 340 plus 90, 430. So this first person Ramu has clearly gone beyond 360. His tens digit addition itself gives you 430. If you go ahead and add the units digit, you will get even more. So for the purpose of the question, Ramu is accepted. He scores more than 60%, which is the threshold of 360, because of the scores he is obtaining out of 100 in the 6 subjects. Look at Sita. 80 plus 90, 170, 170 plus 70, 240, 240 plus 80, 320, 320 plus 90, 410, 410 plus 90, 500. Decidedly more. Sita also gets more than 60%. Geeta, 40 plus 70, 110, 110 plus 50, 160, 160 plus 60, 220, 220 plus 40, 260, 260 plus 70, 330. That is 330. That is less than 360 right now. But 330 will now get 2 plus 8, 10, 340. 340 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, 18. 340 plus 18 is 358. And 358 plus this 8, this last 8 units digit will make it 366, which is more than 360. So Geeta also eventually crosses that line. What about Balu? 40, 50, 90, 90, 50, 140, 140 and 50, 190, 190 and 40, 230, 230 and 30, 260. 260 to reach 360. Will the units digit ever go that far? No. Why? There are 6 numbers and there are 6 units digits. 8, 4, 8, 3, 1, 6. Even if all these units digits were 9, what can be the maximum units digit? 9. Even if the 6 units digits that we have left out so far were 9, then 9 6 would have given you 54. But you have to go to 360 from 260. So you have to cross a threshold of gap of 100. 100 gap cannot be achieved by adding 6 units digits because the maximum units digit can be 9 and 9 6 would give you 54 at the maximum. In this case, the digits are not even 9. They are 8, 4, 3, 1, 6. So there is no question about it. So Balu does not achieve it, cannot climb from 260 to 360 even if we add the units digit numbers. Let's look at Sony. 50 and 40, 90, 90, 40, 130, 130 and 30, 160, 160 and 30, 190, 190 and 40, 230. 230 to reach 360, 130 gap. Once again, the units digit will never be enough to close that gap. So Sony also does not achieve. So out of the 5 students for this question, how many achieve more than 60%? Putting all the subjects together, answer is 3 students. Ramu, Sita and Geeta. Next slide. For the same caselet, another question, same set of marks, 6 subjects and 5 students. Ratio of total number of marks by Sony in all subjects together. 2. Total number of marks scored in subject E by all students together. This is where reading comprehension is key. In your hurry, you should not misread this question. So, marks scored by Sony in all subjects put together and ratio of total number of marks scored in subject E by all students put together. So we need to do one total horizontally, We need to do one total vertically. Total of Sony's addition in all 6 subjects and total of paper subject E by all 5 students. So on and so forth. What is the ratio of this? So the addition for the total marks by Sony and addition of total marks in subject E by all people. This is the way question is drafted. What is the total marks scored by Sony in all subjects put together ratio with total marks scored by all students in the subject E? So let's add up the marks for Sony. So we'll have a 6 and 4, 10, and we would have a 5 and 3, 8, and that 8 with 2 will make it 10. So 110 here and 110 there, that is 20. That is 20. Okay, then 50 plus 40, 90, 90 plus 40, 130, 130 plus 30, 160, 160 plus 30, 190, 190 plus 40, 230. 230 with 20 will make it 250. So total marks scored by Sony in all subjects put together is 250. Now we will have to do an addition for the subject E. All the students scoring in subject E. So let's look at those groupings now. We would have a 4 and 4, that will give me 8. We will have 3 and 4, 3 and 1, that will give me 4. Now this 4 plus 4, 8, and 8 plus 4, 12. This 12 with 8 will give me 20. So now I have gotten a 20. Now I add up only the tens together. 80 and 90, 170. 170 and 40, 210. 210 plus 40, 250. 250 plus 30, 280. 280 plus 20 will therefore give me 300. So now the question is, what is the ratio of 250 by 300? It is as simple as it can get. 5 5s are 25, 5 6 are 30. The answer has to be 5:6. Now we'll start with the next set of table calculation exercise. And we are given some data about vehicles manufactured from the years 2013 to 2017. So from 2013 to 2017, you have the years. You have mopeds, scooters, e-bikes, cycles, and tricycles. And this data is in hundreds. It is given in a very conspicuous manner. It's almost is going to evade your eyesight during the hurry in the examination. This is an important part of focus area. You should be reasonably patient and calm in reading the data interpretation, description, footnotes, indicators, labels of the data. Is the data in thousands or millions or in rupees crores? So that the actual calculation, even if you do it correctly, you remember it is all in hundreds, it is all in thousands. So the answer has to be marked in the correct units. We'll see that happening in this first question example here. So this data that you have about mopeds, scooters, e-bikes is in hundreds. For example, in 2013, 145 mopeds were not manufactured. 145,000. That means it is 14,500 mopeds which were manufactured because each data is in hundreds. So therefore, we'll just keep an eye on any silly mistake which might happen because of ignoring that 100. What is the difference between average production of tricycles and cycles? Average production of tricycles and cycles. What is the difference between average production of tricycles and cycles? So we'll have to find the average for the duration because they have not told you for which year and it's an average. So we'll go ahead and look at the entire data, this entire time period of 2013 to 2017. And we'll do a total of this tricycle production in the entire period. For an average, as we have learned, we will divide the total by the number of values that we have. And this is a data for 5 years. So we'll do a total and divide by 5. We'll do a total and divide by 5. And that particular difference is the difference between the averages. So let's look at the totaling that we can do. We have 60 and 24, which is 84. 84 and 82 is 166. 166 with an 80 is 246, and that's all. So we have 246. What about the hundreds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hundreds. So the total production is 1146. This has to be divided by 5. This is for cycles. What about tricycles? 50 plus 83 is 133. 133 plus 16 is 149. And 149 plus 62, 151 plus 60 is 211. 211 plus 10 is 221. What about hundreds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hundreds there also. So that becomes 1121. And this will be divided by 5. And that is the value for tricycles. For tricycles. This is the number. What is the difference between the average production of tricycles and cycles? So instead of dividing by 5 and then subtracting, we can straight away do 1121 and 1146 difference between the two, and that divided by 5. Remember what we are doing out here. We are saying, let's say if 1146 had to be divided by 5 and then we were supposed to subtract 1121 and then divide by 5. If the denominator is the same, we can do the subtraction and divide the smaller value by 5. That makes our life easier. So 1121 to 1146. 1000 and 1000 don't matter, they are the same. So 100 and 100 don't matter, they are the same. So 21 to 46, what is the gap? So once again, we will not subtract, we'll go ahead. So 21 to 9, 30, 30 plus 16, 46, 16 plus 9, 25. So it is 25, the gap is 25. And that we will divide by 5. Remember this 5? That we will divide by 5. And that will become 5. Now 5 is not your answer. Remember this option, this is given as 5. But is this data in hundreds? Yes. So therefore the correct answer is 500s. Because all that we added was in hundreds. What we subtracted was in hundreds. After dividing, what you get is also in hundreds, because the units of every particular calculation was hundreds. And the question is not how many hundreds is the difference between the average. Question is, what is the difference between the average production? So the answer would not be 5, answer would be 500. For the same table on manufacturing of mopeds, scooters, e-bikes, so on and so forth for these 5 years. Again, the data is in hundreds. Now we will remember the percentage increase in production of e-bikes in 2017 over the previous year. So for e-bikes in 2017 over the previous year. So previous year is 2016. So 254 is how much growth over the previous value of 231. So the value to be compared is 231. And the growth that has happened between these two values from 31 to 54, you are growing by 23. 31 by 54, you are going by 23. And the question says approximately. So it makes your life easier, because if 231 is 100%, then what is 10%? So 10% will therefore be 23.1. And this numerator is 23. So it is just about a little bit lower than 10%. But 50%, 28%, 30 and 10. What will you mark as approximate answer? 10%. So this question is straightforward. It is this. Or you could have done the normal method, 254 minus 231 divided by 231 whole into 100. So what we are doing is we are just looking at the gap, which is 23, dividing by 231, that we cannot avoid. But instead of multiplying by 100 and then dividing and making our life a bit more tricky, we straight away look at, if this number represents 100, then what is the numerator out of it? What is the meaning of percentage? Percentage means per 100. Suppose somebody gets 80% marks in the 12th board examinations. So it is 80. 80 per 100, per cent. Cent is century. So 23 is what percentage of 231 basically means. 231, if that is 100, then 23 is how much? That is the question. So if 231 is 100, That's exactly what we have done. So if 231 is 100, then 10% is 23.1. And therefore 23 is very, very close to 10%. Answer is D. Now we look at the next question in this caselet. In the following table, production of vehicles manufactured, same group, same data. In 2016, which vehicle recorded highest percentage increase over the previous year? So moped or scooter or e-bike or cycles, and tricycles is not even given in the options, remember? So we'll not even calculate for that. It's a 4 option question. So they are asking you to choose only between these 4. That means one of these 4 has had in the year 2016 the highest growth over the previous year. So in 2016 what they have, how much is that growth over their previous year data? 142. Similarly for scooters, 182 over 166, 231 over 154, 280 over 182, and the last one we are not going to calculate. So in 2016, over the previous year, which vehicle category had the highest percentage increase? So when we are moving from 142 to 220, what is the percentage increase? When we are moving from 166 to 182, what is the percentage increase? When we are moving from 154 to 231, what is the percentage increase? And 182 to 280, what is the percentage increase? And the highest one of them will have to be chosen as an answer. So let's look at how do we calculate, and we want to be fast about it. We are getting trained for a competitive examination, and therefore we don't have time to copy the data all the time onto our rough pages, do the regular way of subtraction all the time. So what is it that you are going to do? I'm going to find out what is the jump from 142 to 220. In normal method, what would you have done? You would have done the new sale of moped is 220. The previous sale of moped was 142 and the previous comparison reference was 142. How much is this percentage growth? This is how you would have calculated the percentages. Would you do this for every number and every pair? Yes. So would into 100 happen for everybody? Yes. So into 100 is meaningless for comparison because the question does not tell me the value. Question says which one is the highest. Okay. Now when we look at this particular number, then this particular gap has to be compared with the base. So this gap, for example, 220, 142, the gap is 20, and 60, 80, the gap is 82. Gap is 78. 78 over 142. This is the gap. 142, you add up the number 58 to reach 200. From 200 you add up further 20. So 58 plus 20, 78. 78 by 142. What is 10% of 142? 14.2. And what is 14 fives are? That is 70. So this is 50% and a little bit more. So that is what we are going to now track. We will see the difference in every pairing. We will compare it with the previous year's base number, which was 142 here for the case of mopeds, and we will try and play this 10% 1% game so that we are able to reach that particular number. So I'll erase this part of the screen and I would want you to follow me verbally. This is at least a level that you need to touch to be able to get very fast with these exams. 142 to 220, the growth is 78. 78 on a basis of 142. So 14 fives are 70 and 0.2 fives are 1. So 71 would have meant 50%. 71 to 78, we have to go further by 7. If 14.2 was 10%, then 1.42 is 1%. If you want to go to 7 and it is 1.42, it is approximately 5 times again, very close to 5 times, slightly less than 5 times. Therefore, 55%, 50 plus 5% is the growth here. So for mopeds, from 2016 and the previous year comparison, the growth is approximately 55%. I'll repeat again so that we do the same job for the next pair of numbers. 142 to 220, we have grown by 78. We want to compare the growth with respect to the previous year. So 10% is 14.2, 14 fives are 70, 0.25s are 1, 70 plus 1 is 71. 71 out of 78 is achieved by moving 10%, which was 14.2, and multiplying it by 5 times. Therefore, you have achieved 50%. But your value is not 78. Your value is not 71, it is 78. You have to further go a 7 point ahead. If 14.2 was your 10%, what is 1.42? That is 1%. So 1.42 is 1%. And if I multiply it by 5, I will get 7.1. So if I add up another 5%, I will get close to 7.1. So 55% gives me the value 78. This is what we are doing in this particular question at this stage. We'll do the same thing for all the others. With regular practice, trust me, none of this is impossible. In fact, some of you will achieve speeds way faster than what I'm showcasing to you in this class. So practice the calculation steps and tricks repeatedly. There should be absolutely no scope for relaxing and attending a class and then enjoying your life, things of that nature, because the exams are tough. Let's look at e-bikes now. Second option is for e-bikes. So let's look at e-bikes. 154 to 231. We are going from 154 to 231. 54 to the next 100, which is 200. The growth is 46. 46 with the 31 makes it 77. So the growth here is 77. 77 over a total of 154. So if I take 10%, I will get 15.4. And 15 fives are 75 and 0.4 fives are 2. 75 plus 2 is 77. So this growth of 77 is obtained by multiplying 10% into 5. So therefore this growth is 50%. What about growth for cycles? Let's look at the growth for cycles. Cycle is going from 182 to 280, which is a growth of 98. How do we 98? 182 plus 100 would have been 282. If you grow by 100, you reach 282. But do you want to reach 282 or do you want to reach 280? So subtract 2. So instead of growing by 100, subtract 2. That is 98. So the growth in this particular case is 98. 182 is 100%. So 18.2 is 10%. 18.2 fives are. So 18 fives are would give you a number. 10 fives are 50, 8 fives are 40, 90, and 0.2 fives are will give you 1. So you reach 91. So 50% will give you 91 because 18.2 was your 10%. So 10 fives are 50, 18.2 fives are 91. But do you want to go to 91? You want to go to 98? You want to go to 98. So you want to go further by 7. If I do 10% 18.2, then 1% is 1.82. 10% is 1.82. And if I do forza, I will get 4%, then I will cross 7. So it is 3 point something. So this is going to be 50% plus 3 point something. It is going to be 53 point something percent. This will not match 55. We have scooters also. Let's look at the growth for scooters. We'll now look at the growth for scooters. Same method. We'll try and do it as much mentally as possible. Scooters are growing from 166 to 182. What is the growth? 166 to 200, you have to grow by 34. But you don't have to go to 200, you have to go to 82 only. So 166 plus 4 is 70, 70 plus 12 is 82. So 12 plus 4, 16. You're growing by 16. And 16 is nearly 10% of this. 16.6 is 10%. So therefore scooter will be 9 point something percent, which will be even lower. Therefore the correct answer to this question, which vehicle record the highest percentage increase in 2016 compared to 2015, will be mopeds. If we write down everything as per school days final value minus initial value upon the initial value of comparison into 100, you will achieve the same answer, but you will lose some speed. And therefore, this is the method that we typically recommend. Go to the next question, which says highest growth for scooters produced over the previous year is in which year? So you want to compare growth of scooters only, and in which year was the highest percentage growth. They don't say percentage, but the moment they say rate, that means it's a percentage. So 140 to 164, growth of 24. 24 over 140. 140 is 100%, so 14 is 10%. You have a growth of 24. You have a growth of 24 in 2014. 24, 14 is 10%, remaining 10. Remaining 10. So in 24, you know, in the growth of 24, 14 can be accounted for by saying it is 10%. And you are yet to go a further 10 jump needed in that growth. 1.4 is 1%. 1.4 sevens are 8.4, 9.8. So you'll get 14 sevens are 9.8. Approximately 7 would give you close to this. 10 plus 7% is going to give you close to what you needed. So you're likely to get 17 point something percentage. We will not calculate these last exact digits of these percentage calculations because it might not be needed to choose which year has the maximum data. If it is needed, we'll get to those requisite values. So what have we done out here for scooters? We have said 164 minus 140 divided by 140 into 100. And into 100 will happen for everybody, so we are ignoring that. So this growth is 24. 24 over 140 is what percentage? That is the question. So if 140 is 100%, then 10% is 14. So out of 24, 14 part is 10%. What about the remaining 10? 14 to 24. So 1% is 1.4 and 1.4 7 is 9.8, 14 7 is 98. So it'll come close to this 10. Therefore 7 more percent. So 10% plus 7 more percent, that is 17%. So this is what we have done without writing so much. This is the speed we eventually want. Right now I am talking to you in the format of a class. There are candidates who would not need to talk because they are solving for their success, and they would do this job mentally without even taking these 2 minutes of speaking. Let's look at the next option, 2015 over 2014. So let's look at the next growth rate, which is 2015 over 2014. Now this growth is of only 2 units, which is little bit more than 1%. 164 is 100%. So 10% is 16.4. So 1% is 1.64. And this growth of 2 is slightly more than 1.64. So this growth is going to be 1 point something percent. That is a very small number. So we can might as well forget this. Look at 2016, a growth of 2016. 166 to 182. What is the growth? I think we have done this calculation just one step back, and that particular growth for scooters was close to 9%. Remember this? Scooters, we did in the previous question 9%. So we will not spend extra time in doing this. For scooters, that is going to be 9 point something percent. 17 point something, 1 point something, 9 point something. Let's look at 2017, which is your fourth choice. So we'll look at the growth which happens from 182 to 216. 182 to 200 is a growth of 18, and 18 plus further growth of 16 will make it 34. So the jump is 34. Now 18.2 is 10%. So out of 34, 18.2 will be accounted for by 10%. How much more do you need to go? So from 18 to 34, you have approximately 16 to go. Approximately, it will be 15.8. But in this case, it is 16. We take an approximation. Now 1.8 is going to be 1%. And 18 fives is going to give you 90. And then you have another 7. So 1.8 fives that means 5%, because 1.8 was 1%. This is going to give you 9, but I want to go to 16, so I want to get another 7. Now in the table of 18, to get to a value of 7, you'll have 18 fours are 72. You'll not have fours, but you'll have 3s, 3 point something. So 5 plus 3 is going to be 18%. So this is going to be 18 point something percent. So between the two contenders, 17 point something percent and 18 point something percent, which is the better number, because you are finding the highest growth? Therefore the answer is 2017 for this particular question. Now we look at the same table. Now as you can see, the calculation requirements are increasing step by step, and unless we train ourselves on trying to do the same things mentally without the need to write it, we will not achieve the same speed. So far in the classroom, in this video, we have not yet used any advanced level methods also. We're just going by the playbook. For how many years is the production of e-bikes more than the average production of e-bikes in the given years? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 years for which production data is given. And we want to now look at e-bikes. So for how many of these 5 years is the production of e-bikes more than the average of these 5 years? So for average of these 5 years, we will need to add. So we will add once again with some comfort. We have a 4 plus 1, 5, and we have a 5. And 5 and 5 will give you a 10, and 10 and 4 will give you a 14. So I keep a 14 separate. Then I add up the two digits, 13 plus 19, which gives me 32. 32 plus 15, that gives me 47. 47 plus 23 gives me 70. 70 plus 25 gives me 95. But this is not 95. These are all with a 0. So this is 950. Once again, 13 plus 19. Is it 13 and 19, or actually it is 130 plus 190 plus 150 plus 230, because the last digits have already been added. So in that place I am putting a 0, because those digits are adding to 14. So when I'm doing 13 plus 19, which is 42, 42 plus 15, which is 32, 32 plus 15, which is giving me 47, 47 plus 23, which is giving me 70, 70 plus 25, 95. So this number is in totality going to become 964. So if the 5 values are adding to 964, what is the average? What is the average? We'll divide this by 5. So we'll straight away go and we'll divide this by 5, and that value will then become 1. And that is 46, 5 9s are 45, 14, 5 3s are 192. So it's approximately 192 point something. Once again, 5 1s are 5, 46, 5 9s are 45, remainder 1, 14, 2 point something, 192. Now the question is, in how many years is the production more than the average? So average is 192 point something. So all the values which are 193 and beyond will be accepted. 195, 231, 254. These are all values which are more than 192. So out of the 5 years, there are 3 years where the production of e-bikes is more than the average production of the e-bikes in that particular duration. Moving ahead now with the next caselet in this table practice. We have a different type of data representation right now. Let's look at the description and the table data. Table below, which shows number of fans and regulators rejected and the percentage of those accepted by the quality control department. So acceptance as a percentage is given, rejection as a number is given. So for example, out of the 100% produced by any particular machine, P, Q, R, S, T, out of the 100% produced, if 90% is accepted, we automatically know that the remaining 10% is rejected. And that 10% is 600 because the number rejected is known to you. So now we will need to do some calculations to look at either calculating a percentage or an exact value by looking at the 100%, how much accepted, how much balance percentage rejected, and then so on and so forth. So we'll look at the first question and we'll see how we put this understanding to use. How many fans, regulators, assembled by machine R, so we are looking at machine R, were accepted? How many were accepted? Now 90% were accepted for machine R. And this number is for rejected. So if 90% is accepted, what is this number? This is 10%, which is the rejection out of the 100%. So what is the number of acceptance? That is the question. What is the number of units accepted? So if 10% is 550, how much is 90%? That will be 9 times 550. So 500 nines are 4500, 50 nines are 450. 4500 plus 450 is 4950. So this number is going to be 4950. This is how we are looking at the respective calculations from the point of view of percentage data. Let's look at this question now. It is asking which machine assembled highest number of regulators. So now we do not look at percentages but the actual number. So this is percentage of regulators. And what is the assembly? How many did you assemble? How much was acceptance? And this much was rejection. So if 90% is acceptance, how much is rejection for the first company P? 10% is rejection out of 100%. So if 10% is 600, then what is the total assembly? 100%, 10 tens are, so 600 into 10 will make it 6000. This is the total assembled, out of which 90% was accepted and 10% was rejected. If 80% is accepted for the next company Q, how much is rejected? 20% is rejected. So if 20% is 1000, then how much will be 100%? 20% fives are 100%. Therefore 1000 fives are, that is 5000. If 90% is accepted, how much is rejected? 10% for the machine R. So 10% is 550, therefore 100%, the total it must have worked on is 5500. If 86% is accepted for machine S, then 14% is rejected for the machine. 14% is 840, and that automatically means that 1% for this particular machine S is equal to 60, because 14 6 are 84, 14 5 are 70, 14 6 are 84. So therefore if 840 is equal to 14%, that means 1% is equal to 840 upon 14. That means 1% is equal to 60, because 14 5 are 70, 14 6 are 84. If 1% is 60, therefore 100%, the total it must have assembled must be 6,000. This is what we were saying verbally when we were solving it. Now, last one, 85% is accepted for machine T. If 85% is accepted, 15% is rejected, that is equal to 1650. If that is rejected, that means 1% is 110. How do we do this? 1650 is equal to 15%. That means 1% is equal to 1650 divided by 15. And 15 11s are 165, 15 10s are 150. 150 plus 1 more 15 is 165. Therefore, 1% is equal to 110. Therefore, 100% will be equal to 110 followed by 2 zeros, that is 11,000. So now, as per the calculations on total assembly, that is what the question is asking. It is not asking for total acceptance, it is asking for total assembly. The highest number belongs to T, machine T has the highest number of 11,000. We look at the next question. Approximately by what percentage is the number of rejections of assembly of P more than the number of rejections of assembly of R? We're comparing P with R and the number of rejections is being compared. So now we have straightforward comparison. Comparing 600 with 550. What percentage is 600 more than 550? 600 is more than 550 by the value of 50. And this is what percentage of the number we are comparing with. This is nothing else but 1 by 11. And 1 by 11 is 9.090909 recurring percentage. And therefore the answer is 9 1 by 11. This is the only answer that can be marked. Next question for the same table is, by what percentage is the number of fan regulators assembled by T more than the total number of fan regulators assembled by P and Q? So you have to compare T with total of P and Q, not in terms of rejection numbers or acceptance numbers, but total assembled. We just now did this calculation for each one of them on total assembled. P and Q total assembled is 6,000 and 5,000, which is 11,000. So P and Q put together total assembled is 11,000. We want to compare it with T. Let's go back to that calculation. Look at how much did T assembled? 11,000. So we'll go further ahead and look at how much did T assembled is 11,000. And the question is, by what percentage is this more or less? Now these two numbers are exactly the same. So therefore there's nothing more, nothing less. Answer is 0%. And that is not available in any of the choices. Therefore we'll mark the answer as none of these. Now, what is the average number of regulators assembled by machines R and S? If I look at R and S and I want to look at how many they have assembled, not accepted, not rejected, assembled, total that they have assembled. This data in terms of averaging the numbers between R and S was also calculated earlier. So let's go back to the slide where we had calculated R and S. R and S, the numbers are 5,500 and 6,000. 5,500 and 6,000. So for R and S, the numbers are 5,500 and 6,000. This is the total assembled. What is the average between these two numbers? So between 6,000 and 5,500, the average between two numbers is always midway between those two numbers. And therefore that value is 5,750. The gap is 500. What will be the midway in this gap of 500? When you move 250 ahead. So from 5500, you move 250 ahead. That brings you to 5750. Let's look at the last practice caselet on tables in data interpretation for today's class. We have a table which shows the number of medals won by 5 countries in the different international events in a given year, 2015. So you have gold, silver, bronze, and you have these 5 countries being compared: China, USA, Russia, Jamaica, and UK. Anyways, so the numbers are important. We'll go ahead. What is the average number of bronze medals won by all the countries together? So the bronze medal category. What is the average number of bronze medals by all the countries put together? So average number for any category is the number of values added in that category divided by the number of values. This we have already covered today in our class earlier. So we'll add up these values. So we'll look at 42 plus 20, which is 62. 62 plus 84, which is 146. How do we do this? 60 plus 80 is 140 and 2 plus 4 is 6. So basically we are trying to hasten up in our own mind. It will be 146. 146 plus 85. 146 plus 5 is going to be 151. 151 plus 80 is 231. 231 plus 9 is 240. 240 plus 80 is 320. So we have 320. Then we have 200, 100, 300, 500 plus 3, 800. Plus 800. So these numbers put together is equal to 1120. So the total bronze medals by the 5 countries is 1120. This has to be divided by 5 to get the average number for each country, because there are 5 values that we have added. Here also, though you can easily divide this, that's simple division by 5. You'll say 1000 by 5 would have given me 200. And the remaining 120 by 5 is clearly 24, because 24 5s are 120. So these are some of the initial multiples and tables you might need to remember. You don't have to remember the table of 22, 23, 24, but 24 5s are 120 is a very common number you might come across when you are practicing a lot of mathematics. Therefore 24 because of 120 and 200 because of 1000. So put together 1120 by 5 would give me the answer 224. So my answer to this question is 224. Let's look at the next question. Ratio of total number of medals won by China. So China, total number of medals won by China. All right. And the ratio with total numbers of silver medals won by all the countries. Total number of silver medals won by all the countries. So the horizontal total of China versus the vertical total of the silver medals. So let's see. This is just another addition exercise for us. So we'll look at China addition first. We have 24 plus 3, 27. 27 plus 42 is 69. And 400, 200, 300. That is 900. So 969 medals for China. What about silver? We were supposed to add up silver as well. Now we are going to add up silver. All countries put together, how many silver medals do they get? So we have a grouping where we have 3 and 25 give me 28. 28 and 2 is 30. 30 plus 90 is 120. 120 plus 47 is 167. 167 plus 2 is 169. In 169, I am adding 100, 200, 500, 600, 800. 800 plus 169 is once again 969. Therefore, total silver and total medals of China are the same. So the ratio is 1:1. We have gotten the same addition. Number of gold medals won by USA is what percentage of total number of medals by Jamaica? So gold medals by USA is 405 and total number of medals won by Jamaica is this addition. We have to add up these three numbers for Jamaica. So gold medals won by USA is what percentage? So we'll do numerator by denominator into 100. What will come in the denominator? The total medals won by Jamaica. Let's add up that group. 23 plus 47 is 70. 23 plus 7, 30. 30 plus 40, 70. 70 plus 85 is 155. 155. 3, 455. 1, 555. Another 100, 655. So you got 655. Total number of medals won by Jamaica is 655. What is this percentage? So instead of dividing by 100, we'll play the same calculation trick that we were using earlier. If 655 is 100%, then 65.5 is 10%. And 6.55 is 1%. Now, to reach 405, how many 10% blocks do you need? So if I do into 6, I will get 66 are 360. I will get 5 6 are 30. I will get 0.56 are 3. So I will get 393. So if I do 6 times, that means 60%, I reach 393. I need to further move how much? 12 more. 393 plus 12 will take me to 405. So by doing 60%, I have reached 393. I need to go 12 more. What is 1%? 1% is 6.55. So what is 2%? That will become 13 point something. So slightly less than 13 is 12 is what I need to get. So slightly less than 2% is what I need to get. 60% plus slightly less than 2%. Therefore, my answer should be 61.8. This is how we will avoid exact tiring calculations, especially when there is no option mentioned out here called none of these. Therefore, one of them is bound to be true, and they are so well spaced apart, you can be absolutely sure that it has to be 61.8%. Look at the next question now. For which of the following countries is the ratio of the number of silver medals to that of gold medals the least? Silver to gold should be the least ratio. So we'll look at silver to gold. Silver to gold ratio. China 203 by 424. Is this the least ratio? Then USA 125 by 405. 125 divided by 405. Is that a least ratio? Then Jamaica in UK 147 by 323. 147 by 323. And the last one is UK 102 by 161. 102/161. 203 by 424. What is half of 424? That is going to be 212. 203 is very close to 212. So this will be close to 50% but slightly less than 50%. But it will be close to 50. Close to 50%. This much approximation we can play in the mind. Why are we not doing exact calculation? Because by not taxing our brain with exact calculation, if we can still achieve a reasonable degree of confidence in the answer that we are getting, we can mark this in the exam and move ahead faster. Let's look at USA. 125 by 405. So what is 50% of 405? That is 202.5. And 125 is way less than 220. So this is decidedly less than even 40%. So it is not even close to 50. It is less than 40%. What about Jamaica? 323 by 147. Half of 300 is 150. And half of 23 is going to be 11.5. So 150 plus 11.5, 161.5. This is 147. And 50% is 161. Therefore, this also is less than 50%, but it is also close to 50%. UK 100 to by 161. This is now more than 50%. What is half of 161? It is 80.5. And the number out here is 102. And that is more than 80.5. So this number is actually more than 50%. What is the question asking us to do? Is it asking us to find the highest ratio or the lowest ratio? The question is, which ratio is the least? Therefore, the answer is USA. There are other values less than 50%, but clearly more than 40%. But in the case of USA, it is further less than 40%. Last question now for this table. By what percentage is the number of gold medals won by China more than the number of bronze medals won by UK? So by what percentage is this number more than this number? So what is the gap between the two numbers? From 289 to go to 300, we need to add 11. 89 plus 11 is the next 100. And to 300, we have add 24. So 11 plus 24 gives me 35. So the gap is 35. So the number of gold medals by China is 35 more than the number of bronze medals by UK. And the question is, what is the percentage? So how much is this percentage going to be? That is the question. I'm sorry, we ignored the 200 and 400 gap. So between a 300 to this, there is going to be another 100 gap. So it is 135 upon 289. So 135, which is the lead China gold medals have over the bronze medals of UK, is what percentage of the bronze medals of UK? This is the question. So we'll clearly play this game not by again multiplying it by 100 and then simplifying and taxing us further, because we see the options are slightly distant from each other. So we'll look at what would this mean. What is going to be 50% of 289? 200's half is 100 and the half of 90 is 45. So half of 89 will be 44.5. So 144.5 would have been 50% of 289 and this number is 135. So my answer has to be less than 50% but close to it. Less than 50% but close to it. There is only one option which is less than 50 and close to it, and the correct answer would therefore be C. Remember, we can do this only when the options are far away. For example, if there were options like 41, 42, 46, 47.8, then we will have to go with accurate calculations. But out here, the options are reasonably far apart, and therefore we have a clear-cut logical guarantee that we can ignore these other values which are decidedly away from the estimate that we are getting. With the practice that you have got in understanding some percentages and numbers, and also some of the double digit calculations and the easier steps of trying to approximate your answer instead of exact calculation, we hope this class and lecture on data interpretation and tables was useful to you. Thank you and have a good day.